And in 1974, on the brink of eradication, smallpox still infected 218,000 people worldwide and killed about a third of them. I can count off this history of escape from infectious disease in my own family, and it's a measure of how recent, dramatic, and personal this change has been. Growing up in the Bronx in the 1920s, my uncle had polio, and it left him on crutches for life. But polio season became summer again for me after my grade school class reluctantly lined up in 1956 to receive Jonas Salk's new polio vaccine. I came down with measles, on the other hand, in the pre-vaccine peak epidemic of 1958 and was laid out for a week, with voices whispering outside my bedroom door and the curtains drawn tight to block out the sun. In the United States, measles killed 552 children that year. I also had most of the other childhood diseases, as did my classmates. My children had just one, chickenpox, for which a vaccine became available only in 1995. To say this happened in living memory may, however, overstate the case. It is the catch-22 of vaccines and, in truth, of all infectious disease discoveries. They save us from diseases, then cause us to forget the diseases from which they have saved us. You get a sense of how clueless we were about epidemics before COVID-19 by the casual way we used the word, with our anxious talk about the obesity epidemic, the autism epidemic, even the tanning epidemic, and of course the epidemic of anxiety. Once a disease like measles appears to be gone from our lives, we become lax, or worse. Well-meaning parents increasingly avoid vaccinating their children, particularly when it comes to the measles, mumps, rubella, MMR vaccine. As a result, a major measles outbreak in 2019 sickened children in Europe, the United States, and other areas that vaccination had once made measles-free. Parents had forgotten that children with measles can die or suffer permanent intellectual disability. They forgot that an outbreak of rubella in the 1960s resulted in 20,000 American children being born with brain damage, including autism and other abnormalities. Much as our forebears were fatalistically accepting of epidemic diseases, we had become naively oblivious to them. Even the HIV/AIDS epidemic did not change this overall picture, despite the suffering and death it continues to cause. When antiretroviral therapy became available in the 1990s, people who tested positive accepted it and found they could lead normal lives again. Worldwide life expectancy, having more than doubled in the 20th century, continued to edge upward until COVID-19. The struggle to remember. This book started out as a conscious effort to remember. One day, I was checking my yellow international immunization card, which I keep with my passport, and found myself puzzling over the entry for Tdap. I recognized the T for tetanus and the P for pertussis, or whooping cough, but I was ignorant about the D. Even pediatricians now tend to know diphtheria only from textbooks. But before the development of serum therapy in the 1890s and effective vaccines in the 20th century, diphtheria was among the great terrors of childhood. It killed more than 3,000 young Americans one year in the mid-1930s, when my parents were in high school.